This is KGW News at 11.
Good evening. Tonight, President Biden delivered his first State of the Union address at a moment of crisis in America and around the world. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. The president balanced his handling of the war in Ukraine with the domestic challenges affecting the American people, from rising consumer prices to the pandemic. Here's Alice Barr with the latest from Washington, D.C.
Madam Speaker, the President of the United States.
President Biden stepping into a full House chamber for his first State of the Union address, knowing his words reach far beyond the Capitol at this defining moment in history.
We, the United States of America, stand with the Ukrainian people in the battle between democracy and autocracies. Democracies are rising to the moment.
With the war in Ukraine center stage, the president taking on the threat posed by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and totally unprovoked. He rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond, but Putin was wrong.
Many lawmakers dressed in Ukraine's yellow and blue as President Biden laid out what the U.S. and allies are doing to help the besieged nation and punish Russia.
Tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights. The Russian economy is reeling, and Putin alone is the one to blame.
On the economy, the president focusing on strong job and GDP growth. But he acknowledged the challenges American families still face, vowing to ease soaring inflation.
My top priority is getting prices under control.
Masks are optional tonight, signaling a shifting phase in the pandemic. The president celebrating progress against COVID.
COVID-19 no longer need control our lives.
Also touting his historic nomination of the first black woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
At a time of deep division in this country and devastating conflict around the world, President Biden seeking a path to unity. Despite the applause in the chamber tonight, President Biden faces low approval ratings and sharp Republican opposition to his economic policies and his approach to the crisis in Ukraine. Tonight, he nodded to GOP priorities, including reducing crime by funding police and securing the border. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And where do people stand when it comes to the state of Oregon? KGW's David Malko talked to people in the community about the issues they think need to be addressed the most. That's coming up in about 10 minutes. And now to the latest in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Today, Russian troops aggressively advanced on the capital city of Kyiv, stepping up air and mortar strikes. More than 670,000 people have already escaped Ukraine, and that number is expected to grow significantly. And for those left behind, it's not just the threat of combat, but starvation too. Grocery store shelves have been empty for days as supplies are quickly running out.
We sleep with bombing, we get up with bombing. No food, no bread, no water, no tablets, no pharmacy, nothing. And the people of there staying, no money to go out, to run, no money. Ukraine need more help, please help. Their people is so good, exactly our.
It's heartbreaking. Ukrainian officials are accusing Russian forces of deliberately hitting residential neighborhoods and civilians. 136 civilian deaths have been recorded so far, but officials say they believe the true number is much higher. Here at home, Portland saw its 21st homicide of the year today. A man was shot and killed around noon right next to a North Portland park. At about this time last year, another man was killed near the same spot. Alma McCarty was at the scene earlier this afternoon and joins us live now with an update. Alma?
Well, Laurel, at this point, the details are limited, but another deadly shooting in the middle of the day next to a busy park. It's traumatic for many, including the pastor of nearby Vancouver Avenue Baptist Church. Reverend Dr. J.W. Matt Hennessy said members of his congregation organized a food giveaway in Dawson Park Tuesday morning. The event running from 10 until noon.
Just before they were about to leave, they heard the shots ring out. They saw a car drive away, and they were very, very saddened to see that a young man was laying on the ground when it was all over.
Portland police responded to the shooting call just outside the park, around the corner of North Williams Avenue and Northeast Stanton Street. Once on scene, they found a man dead, but no suspect in sight. Nearly a year ago, on March 9th, 2021, police found a man shot to death in almost the same location, right outside Dawson Park. Officers identified the victim as 42-year-old Titus McNack.
Once again, in broad daylight, somebody loses their life, and people don't seem to have a lot of information who may have been very close to what was happening. That's dismaying, disturbing, and I'm really saddened by it.
The pastor of Vancouver Avenue First Baptist Church said when he heard about Tuesday's deadly shooting, he immediately went to the nearby park. There, he spoke with the mayor and police chief. Hennessy tells me last May, he lost a close relative to gun violence in the city, a case which remains unsolved to this day.
It was traumatic, and quite frankly, we still feel the pain of it. To the mayor, I just said, this is too much. We've got to figure out a way to stop this kind of violence. I don't have all the answers. There are lots of people around this city and this region who feel exactly as I do, almost exhausted that this is where we are, because this is not Portland.
Officers spent hours investigating the scene but offered no further details about the identity of the victim. Police do not have a suspect in this case. In North Portland, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Yes, it is too much. And a Portland man is facing attempted murder charges following a carjacking spree Monday night. Deputies say the suspect shoplifted from the Macy's at Clackamas Town Center. Then moments later in the parking lot, he shot at a driver and stole his car. He carjacked a second driver near I-205 and Highway 224. Then police say he shot at and attacked a third driver near the Milwaukee self-storage. In all, 3 people were injured in the spree. And today, the suspect who set off the chain of events leading to the death of a Vancouver police officer pleaded not guilty. Julio Cesar Segura was arraigned on all charges stemming from the incident. In January, Segura allegedly robbed a convenience store in Vancouver, then led Clark County deputies on a chase. He began knocking on the front door of a nearby house, which happened to be the home of off-duty officer Donald Sahota. A deputy mistook Sahota for the suspect and shot him. A trial for Segura has now been scheduled for September. Tonight, Portland's mayor has fired the police officer who leaked false information accusing Commissioner Joanne Hardesty in a hit and run. Catherine Cook has more on the move and the investigation that led up to this point. Catherine?
Laurel, the mayor today said the actions of former police officer Brian Hunziker violated policy and amounted to retaliation against Commissioner Hardesty. That's why he disagreed with the police chief on punishment and went ahead and fired Hunziker. This started last March when a woman reported to police that Commissioner Hardesty had bumped her car in traffic and didn't stop. But it turned out to be a case of mistaken identity. Investigators quickly learned that Hardesty was not involved in the crash. But before that investigation was complete, Hunziker, who was then president of the police union, sent information to the media about Hardesty's alleged involvement in the crash. A police bureau internal investigation found that Hunziker leaked the information partly because of tensions between Hardesty and the police bureau. That included a comment Hardesty made accusing police officers of setting some fires during the protests, a comment she later walked back.
Officer Hunziker's actions harmed Commissioner Hardesty and harmed the community's trust in the police bureau. As police commissioner, on behalf of the bureau, I want to apologize to Commissioner Hardesty for Officer Hunziker's actions.
In a statement today, the current police union president said Hunziker did not send out the confidential info with bad intent and instead called it an honest mistake. He added, in firing Officer Hunziker, the city has inappropriately turned accountability into punitive sanctions. That is a step too far, one that is unsupported by facts, reason, and objectivity, he said. The union says it's trying to figure out what steps it could take to reverse the decision. We also contacted Hunziker today, but he did not want to comment on the termination. Laurel.